most amazing artists, I hope you are having an awesome day today. Welcome to week 2 of our Klimt gratitude trees. Last week we took inspiration from Gustav Klimt's painting Tree of Life to create our own drawing using spiral lines for our branches. We also practiced gratitude through our art making by thinking of things that we are grateful for in our lives. We all have so much stuff to be grateful for, and inside of these branches you were to write in nice, neat handwriting different things that you are grateful for. Now today we are going to add color to this. What I'm going to be using is a Sharpie because I need to draw some lines and break up the space behind our tree a little bit, so I'm going to do that with a Sharpie. And I'm also going to do a marker watercolor technique. If you have regular watercolors like these, then you can use this instead of your markers, but I really enjoy painting with markers because I can get my colors exactly where I want them and I can be a little bit more precise. If you are going to do our marker painting technique, you're going to need some water and a paintbrush. However, a paintbrush is not required. You can actually use your finger in place of your paintbrush when you add water on top of your marker. If you don't have watercolor paint or markers or anything like that, then you can simply just color your background using crayons or colored pencils. Whatever you have at home will work perfectly. If you are going to do a painting technique in the background, then you'll want to put a messy mat under your work so you don't get mess on your table. That's everything that we are going to need today, so let's go ahead and get started. I almost forgot, I am going to use a pencil for this first step because I want to draw a circle behind my tree. So I'm just going to carefully draw a circle. If you have something that you can trace, like this is just a tape roll, I could use this and I can trace my circle just right behind our tree. And what I'm going to do is, now that I have that circle drawn, I am going to go over it with my Sharpie. This is going to be the sun behind my tree. Anywhere my circle is actually on top of my tree branch, I'm going to jump over it, skip over it, and continue outlining the circle. But once you hit where you drew your tree, jump over it and continue your circle. Once you come to a branch, jump over it, continue your circle. I'm hitting some more branches, but I have a little tiny line back there that I can outline, and I'm going to do this until I have my full circle. And there is the sun that is behind our tree, and I'm going to go in where I just drew that circle on top of my branches, and I'm going to erase those pencil lines because we do not need them anymore. And now that I have the sun behind my tree, I am going to take my Sharpie again, and I'm just going to draw some lines coming out from that circle. So I'm basically just breaking up this big space a little bit using straight lines. You could use diagonal lines, you could use vertical lines, and horizontal lines. Over here, just like whenever I drew my circle, I'm going to jump over my branches and draw those lines behind my branches. So we don't want to draw lines on top of our branches, we're drawing them behind the branches. Okay, I'm even going to do some lines up here. I'm going to draw a diagonal line, jump over your branches. If you want to lay this out first in pencil, draw your lines in pencil first and then go over it with Sharpie, you are definitely free to do that if you want to. However, I am just going to be brave and go straight in with my Sharpie, drawing some lines going around my sun. The reason why we're breaking up the space behind our tree is because we want our background to be super colorful so that our tree stands out against it, because our tree is going to stay black and white. So it will be very contrasting against our colorful background. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use an orange, but again, you can use any colors that you want to, just around the outer edge. I'm not going to outline the inside of my circle, just the outside, just around the outer circle I'm going to outline. And then I would like to add yellow to my sun, so I'm going to do a stripe of yellow right next to my orange, all the way around my sun. And then I'm going to take my water and paintbrush, but remember, you can actually substitute the paintbrush with your finger. Just dip your finger in and rub it across your marker. However, if you have a paintbrush, it's a lot easier because you're able to be a lot more neat and stay inside the lines, because we're going to try not to get any color inside of our trees. So what I'm doing is I'm taking just a little bit of water at a time. I'm first going to go over top of my marker where I put that marker in whatever color I chose to help get that paint started. And then I'm going to add some more water and bring it into the center. And I need to do this all the way around the edge of my sun, being very careful not to get any color in my tree. So for this, I'm being very, very careful and only using a little bit of water, because you will have these little teeny tiny spaces. You got to be extra, extra careful. Okay, there's my sun pretty much done. Now I'm going to choose another color, and I'd like to start with pink. And I'm just going to run my marker along the inside of these shapes that we have created. You can do it a couple of times if you want a darker color. The more marker that you actually use during this part of our project, the darker your color will be. So I like mine to be dark around the edge, and then I like it to be light in the middle. But maybe you want your whole entire shape to be dark. If you want your entire shape to be dark, then you can color in the entire shape with marker and then go over it with your water, and it will be a much darker color. Now that section is done, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next section, and I want to choose purple for this section. And I'm again going to always jump over my tree, because I want my tree to stay black and white. And even though my tree is in front of this shape, I know this shape behind my tree is one shape. These are not two separate shapes. It's just one shape, so I'm going to color this shape the same color. I'm not going to do this tiny rectangle one color and this shape one color. It's all the same shape, so I'm going to do it just one color, and I've chosen purple. And I want to do one more layer around the edges to make my colors a little bit darker around the edges, because I like the way that looks. And then I am going to again take my water and go over the marker first to get that color started. And some of that pink is actually bleeding into my purple from this section, so I kind of like the way that looks. It's totally fine if that happens to yours. If your colors start to mix a little bit, that actually might make our background look even more interesting. Around these bigger sections, we want to use a little bit more water, but around any teeny tiny sections, we just want to have a little bit of water. Okay, so I'm going to do the same exact technique for the rest of my background shapes back here, and I'm going to do it for my shapes down here at the bottom, the ground that my tree is growing from, and I will be right back to show you what it looks like. Just finished adding water to my beautiful colorful background. What I decided to do was to go ahead and use my markers first, outline all of my shapes, and then go in with water, because I found when I did these first ones it was a little bit hard because it was kind of wet. It was hard to color these ones down here, so I decided to just go ahead, outline all of my shapes first with marker, and then once all my shapes were outlined, go over it with water. And it's okay if you get a little bit of color inside of your tree, because it does get pretty tricky up here, especially around the spirals, so you have to be extra careful and really take your time while doing that part of your painting. Our goal is to try to keep our tree black and white though, and not have much color in it, because it stands out really great against this colorful background. I hope you guys have a lot of fun doing the background of your Klimt gratitude trees. I can't wait to see how they turn out. I know they're going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.